What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Two Worlds podcast. I'm Jake, and with me, as always, is the Michael to my Congorilla. It's Casey. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. What's up with you?
Just another beautiful Monday.
Right on. Did you have your lasagna to get rid of your case of the Mondays?
I didn't. I had pork chops.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, how was your week?
Oh, it's not too bad. I went to Indy for Saturday for the All Monsters Attack Days of the Dead thing, and that was pretty neat. But boy, it's only worth one day. Like, because by about like the hour mark, I'm ready for my pictures and ready to leave because there is not much going on.
An hour? Dang.
Because it's like I wasn't gonna go to the panels because I wasn't really interested in that. I mean, I'm sure like because they're gonna have panels with some of the actors and stuff, and I'll probably talk more about this at our YouTube break and how my complaints and whatnot. But the at I'm like I don't really want to. I didn't look over the panel stuff. I'm not that interested in that stuff, and then like everything else was like in a room that would have been probably like 1% the size of like C2E2's Artist Alley. Like, oh, it'd probably be about like three-quarters the size of our high school gym would
Okay.
be the room that had all the artists, all the vendors, and all of the celebrities.
Oh no.
And so it's like there's not a lot to do. Like you see the stuff, you're like, oh wow, here's all of the overpriced stuff. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, I've made 10 loops now. Cool.
But I imagine your photo ops were at designated times, right?
Yeah. And that's another thing. It was like if I had known that if I could you just get your autograph, they just take photos when you get your autograph. Because it doesn't say that on the day. The Days of the Dead website's not very well organized. And so if I had known that, I wouldn't have paid for the photo ops. I would have got more autographs from these other people that I wanted to see. But I was like, I have to do this just right so I don't run out of money. And so I didn't get like Kiru's suit guy or Mogiro's suit guy. I didn't get to get those ones or Mecha Godzilla's suit guy because I was like, I got to get my Godzillas and my Ultraman.
Right.
And, and so then I'm like, oh, that's too bad.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more about that on the break because it looked from the pictures like it what you made it look like it was a better time than it
I
was.
mean, it's one of those things where it's like meeting those suit actors. I do it again because like even though they spoke about like they spoke more English than I spoke Japanese. Still wasn't a lot clearly, but they're like the dude that was the GMK one was like super high energy, and you can tell from like my new profile picture on Instagram, super high energy, super likable. And like the guy that was Ultraman, he showed me like how to do the this, and like it was like, oh, you have to move. Like he'd get like right in front of me, and he like posed to me before it ever started and stuff like, and like that stuff. It's like super cool, but it's
Yeah,
just the con itself is pretty sad.
right. Right on. Well, hey, let's get into our news. And you've got a couple more than me, so I'll let you start us off.
Okay, man. So this is the first thing that I saw, like, because like when I saw this, I was like, there's not a lot of news out yet. So I'm just gonna put this so I have something to talk about. Some news broke that Kim Kardashian, Jake's favorite person on planet Earth, I think. I don't know. I don't know Jake very well, but she wants to join the MCU.
Okay. Well,
Like,
I just want to clarify, not a big Kardashian fan.
oh, really?
Um, yeah, I mean it's just when she says that, I imagine that it's something along the lines of the and this is light spoilers for this last week She-Hulk. Megan the Stallion was in the episode, and I imagine that it would be something sort of like Megan the Stallion.
Yeah. I
Not
like how,
that Kim Kardashian would be like, a known character.
yeah, the one thing though that's like at least with Megan the Stallion, she's like from stuff that I've seen, she's at least like a nerd because like she's at least she likes Sailor Moon a whole lot and like she likes this crap more. Like Kim Kardashian just seems like this is what's popular right now, and that's what I want to do. And that's, like she doesn't seem like she has a genuine bone in her body, so it's, not the best.
Yeah.
Not my favorite thing.
Dude, I don't I have no idea why we're talking about more about the Kardashians now, but
Well, we're trying to
I
keep up with them.
I know, right? We are. I had no idea. And I don't even know why it came up the other day. Maybe it was because of this, but I didn't realize that she was like 41 or 42 years old.
Well, parts of her are.
Right. Right.
Yeah, no, I didn't know
Um
she was that old either.
yeah.
But it makes
It,
sense because we're both 31 and she's always been a good bit older than us.
true. True. Anyway, um so I didn't talk about it last week because we had Drew on and I wanted to make it more about him. But we're now 3 episodes out on Rings of Power, and I just wanted to comment about it.
I want to hear your opinion on it because I've heard stuff on Twitter. I'm going to bring up a tweet here in a bit too.
Twitter is awful.
I know.
um, I like it.
Good.
I like it. There are things that they change because they have to change. And I'll let you read the tweet because maybe what I'm about to say has something to do with what's in the
It
tweet.
doesn't. It more than likely doesn't. I don't think yours is going to be about the women dwarfs. So I think it's good.
I mean, it kind of is. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, because like everyone's complaining because there's like black elves and black people in there, and people are mad about that because it's like, oh, how can you have fantasy and black people? But someone was like, I don't care. It's like if you're a real Tolkien fan, the thing that's gonna really make you mad is that these dwarf women don't have big, thick beards.
No, that's great. Um, so yeah, anything on Twitter and then some of my super annoying and I hate to throw around the word bigot because I think it's used very loosely nowadays, but truly bigoted customers have complained about the, just inclusivity of the show, which is just hilarious to me because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh really? You're all huge fucking Silmarillion fans all of a sudden? Like, shut up. It's like fucking quote any piece of that book for me if you're such a huge fan. Uh and they won't because reading that is like reading a college, textbook. Nobody likes to do it.
Yeah.
Um but anyway, just seeing all that stuff, like one of the big things people complain about, and this is going to be mild spoilers, so I'm not going to try to give away anything too big, but Galadriel is one of the main characters. And you know who that is, right? From the movies, Kate Blanchett,
Oh, she's
the Elf Queen.
yeah. I
Okay.
gotcha.
So a younger version of her is in the show. And in the Silmarillion, see this takes place during the Second Age. She wasn't doing too much. She was kind of just sitting around in another part of the world. Who would want to watch this show if it's just about Galadriel sitting around in an elf, kingdom
Mm-hmm.
doing nothing? Nobody would. So why are they complaining that they made her like a pretty badass like warrior elf who's like going around fighting orcs and trying to hunt down Morgoth? Like, I don't understand the complaint. It's like if you want it to be accurate, the show would suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I understand changing up big things, but that's something that you should be okay with.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do this story without her, but you can't do her Silmarillion story. Um, And then, having the hobbits in there, like I realized that hobbits weren't really in the second age at all, but you
I
gotta
don't.
you gotta rope in the casuals a little bit, right? And
Yeah.
so if there's some hobbits in there, who cares? I just like whatever. If you wanna find stuff to complain about, that's fine. But I just don't think it's warranted.
Okay, I have a this is like nothing to do with that, but just a question. So I've heard complaints about the new Thor movie with the helmets because they just did CG helmets. Is this real helmets or is it CG helmets?
I think they're real.
Okay. Because yeah, that's like because I was hearing like complaints about the Thor movie where it's like you can tell that they're CG helmets at times where it just doesn't fit properly. It looks kind of odd. And I was like, that's one of the things that made the Lord of the Rings movies so cool is like how stuff looked. So I was like,
Right.
does that
So
aesthetic kind of stick around?
I think, yeah, I think it does. Like one thing I was worried about was that the orcs would look like they did in the Hobbit movies, where it's just not good. Like Azog, the main bad guy in the Hobbit movies, looks terrible.
Oh, really?
And speaking of that, I saw the scrapped practical effects version of him this week. Looked amazing. Like
Hmm.
genuinely like a scary orc. I don't understand why they threw it out. But anyway, it doesn't look like that. They look like orcs from the Lord of the Rings films. So, and the armor's cool. The one thing I will say is like not enough of the characters just have that classic, you know, fantasy long hair. Like a lot
Yeah,
of them just kind of have sort of modern haircuts, and it's like, I don't know about that.
I
But
gotcha.
whatever. It's fantasy. But I like it. I don't think the hate is warranted. You just gotta let some of these things play out and see how it plays out. So
But here's the thing. People on YouTube love to do those things where they're like the woke whatever. Like me and Bree talked about that this weekend because bless her heart, she's barely on Twitter, and we got on the subject of the new Little Mermaid and how the new Little Mermaid's black. I'm like, a lot of people are mad about that. She's like, why? I'm like, bless your soul.
yeah, I saw a really funny tweet. I'll try to find it. Keep talking though for a
Yeah.
second while I look it up.
So it was just funny because I'm like, you're clearly not on Twitter because people like it'll be like grown ass adults. It will be like, oh man, I was all about this Little Mermaid movie until they cast a black girl to be the mermaid. Now I'm not gonna see it at all because that's not my Little Mermaid.
I know, right? And I can't find it, but it was something along those lines. It's like I think it's hilarious how many like grown ass men were real excited for the new Little
Yeah,
Mermaid until, she was black. So,
the one casting thing though with that, like I've seen people say this, like the guy that's gonna be Sebastian, he needs to have his Jamaican accent. But I'll also say Javier Bardem, I wouldn't have cast him as the king for sure because I think it should have been someone that could have hammed it up a little bit better than him. Like Javier
right.
Bardem can just do scary intense, and I don't think you want that for a Disney movie.
No, no, you don't. He can only play scary old man, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I mean, like, we could be wrong. He might kill it, but at the same time, he might kill her. It's gonna be hard to say.
Yeah. That's funny.
All right.
Yeah, I guess that I was like, wait, why did we even talk about that? But
So rate the first 3 episodes out of 10 for you. Like, give me a strong rating for these, and does it live up to the hype that you had for it going in?
um, I want to say like overall probably like an 8.
Right on.
Um, as far as living up to expectations, I, in the best way possible, am just whelmed.
I gotcha. Yeah, I was worried about that for you because I knew you were super hyped. So I was like, there's a good chance he might end up being disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, and I still could be by the end of it, but right now I'm liking where things are going.
Right on. So did you see the new Black Adam trailer?
No, I didn't.
It looks fine. I'm just like, some people are like really feeling it and good for them. But for me, it's still just like, oh yeah, why is Rock trying so hard to be serious? Like he's just The Rock. It's still like The Rock trying not to be, super goofy, but he still just comes off as Dwayne Johnson. It's like
Yeah,
it doesn't do anything for me yet, so I don't know.
I was talking to somebody else this week, and they were like, I think this movie's gonna flop. I don't think anyone's gonna go see it. I'm like, okay, whether or not you think the movie's gonna be good, The Rock is in it. People are gonna go see it.
Yeah,
He's the
like
highest billed actor in Hollywood. People
yeah,
are
I
gonna
mean,
go see it.
I think that one of his only movies that technically that was considered a failure was that Rampage movie.
Right.
I think that might be like his, and I still think it made its money back, but yeah, it's a it's a comic book movie with The Rock in it. It's gonna make good bit of money.
Absolutely. And like he's hyping it up, which I'm glad he is. Like he should believe in what he's making. So,
Yeah,
you know, if it's not great, well, that sucks. You know what I mean? But like,
and there's something interesting too, like people that are like that like break down trailers pointed out. There's a part with Viola Davis in the trailer, and in the corner it has the thing with Justice, like talks about the Justice League also, and that wasn't in earlier shoots. They've re-added that in, so like that whole thought is, oh, with the new Warner Brothers Discovery merger stuff, they're like it's and like with Hamada out and the other people out, they're getting the other actors back in. So now they're like, well, we can incorporate the Justice League again because Affleck's back for sure. Cavill, a lot of rumors are saying he is back too. So it's like that might be part of it, which would be pretty rad.
yeah, I agree. I will go see it. I want more live action DC stuff, so I'm gonna go support this stuff. Um, but again, it's silly to say that no one's gonna go see it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the way I could see it being a failure, I'm gonna say this is it might not break $1 billion, and I think that might be what they're hoping for.
A billion, you said?
Yeah,
Mm,
worldwide.
right. I don't know, because I mean, is it one of those things where you know how some actors just like kill overseas? I wonder if it's like that for The Rock.
I think he does everywhere. I'm not
Yeah,
like it's one of those things with him. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, the Rock is a worldwide beloved star type of thing.
yeah.
So the big thing is gonna be the Chinese market if they can appeal to that, which it's like I've none of the trailers have shown him like flying over the Great Wall of China or anything. So I don't know if that's gonna work out.
Right. Well, speaking of DC, we got news this week that Dan Lin is not going to be the Kevin Feige of DC.
Yeah, you beat me to that one. I saw that. I was about to put in those. Like, you got me.
I know that's been like your thing. So I almost didn't put it in there, but I was like, well, what if he doesn't see that? So
Yeah.
I guess he signed on to like do something else or head up something else. So the search continues.
Yeah. But I think they're in the right wheelhouse, like I was talking about before, like trying to get a guy like that and not a creative type. Like we've talked before, being like, it'd be really cool if Mark Wade was the head of this, but like honestly, it wouldn't because it's like you don't need a creative you need a voice that knows how to make monies and put the right people in the right roles versus just being like, Bruce Tim would be the one to do it. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool, but it's like I think if they want to get anyone from the animated verse, it was like the lady that actually did the castings would be probably like the ideal one because like
Yeah.
she had the mind behind to bring in like the right people for that. And
Yep.
I think that's what you need more than anything. But all right, so on some other surprising news, Paper Girls was not renewed for a second season, which is a real letdown because I liked it.
I guess I'm part of the problem. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So
They're like, we've been watching Jake Dilly's Amazon Prime account, and he has it's just been staying in his want to watch queue and it hasn't moved out of there yet. So gonna cancel that.
dude, I like if it weren't for Rings of Power, I'm struggling to think of what the last thing I watched on Amazon was.
The Boys, did you've watched any of that, right?
Not the current or the latest season.
Yeah, but
So
I'm
the one
I'm
before that,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm assuming that must have been it
Yeah.
because it's like they have The Boys and then in the rings, and that's
Oh, I watched like the original Italian Job because it was on there
oh
once. So like there you go. It's The
yeah.
Boys, Rings of Power, and the Italian Job with Michael Caine.
Did you ever play that game for the original Italian Job?
No.
Dude, it was on PlayStation 1 and I got it, and it's like I could never get past the first level because like you have to drive like when you're leaving wherever, you have to just drive like a normal person to get to where you need to go. And if you like speed even a little bit, the cops chase you down and like you're just done.
Man, no, I didn't know. I didn't even know that the original was one of them. Yeah, based on the 1969 film. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Did Michael Caine do the voice?
I don't think so. I
Man,
mean,
can
he
you
might have
imagine
because
though?
like that was like around the time when like Michael Caine, like pre the Dark Knight trilogy, where it's like he didn't have a lot going on. So he might
Yeah,
have. It's like he's living off that sweet, sweet, Muppets Christmas Carol money, and he's just like, I need to do something.
that movie is one of my all-time favorites.
It's one of the best Christmas movies. I'll give it that for
Yes.
sure. Okay. Oh, this was interesting. Marvel announced a brand new game from Skydance New Media. It's gonna be set in World War II, and you play as Captain America and Black Panther. They said it's gonna play like Uncharted. It should be pretty neat. I mean, getting to beat up a bunch of, Hydra Nazis. They probably won't call them Nazis, even though it's World War II, but they'll be beating up a bunch of those as Black Panther, as it would be T'Challa's grandpa and Captain America.
Yeah, I think that could be really cool. I
I
hope it
think
works out.
the one thing I hope it's like I hope it's not just like you can also get to play as like Human Torch and Union Jack and like all these other guys too. I think that
All
make it
the
even
invaders.
yeah, that'd be so cool. And like since it wouldn't be really fair getting Namer at the beginning, like if you beat it, you get to play his Namer, the second time
New
through.
game plus with
Yeah.
Namer. Yeah, that'd be cool. I hope that works out because I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times a video game adaptation or a comic book video game will just like bomb, you know?
Yeah, I mean this one it's so easy if they want to just copy what they have done very well with the Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 and just do that style, be pretty great. Or even like copy the same, like if they're trying to do Uncharted style, just I mean, that's pretty simple stuff, do it just like Batman Arkham City, but with a shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. Um, okay, so Diamond had a whoopsie daisy this week where they had a bit of a security breach, a ransomware attack, and I guess a bunch of social security numbers got leaked. So,
That's
you know,
fun.
just when you think Diamond can't hurt anymore,
Yeah.
they find a way. I guess back in the day, uh, because it wasn't like this when Mike and I signed up for an account, but I guess back then you had to give like your social security number, like your individual information rather than your company's information.
Yeah.
So um I guess a lot of that, like those older accounts, is what got leaked. So
I gotcha.
I really hope that nobody gets hurt from that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Diamond is a joke, but I haven't really heard anything since that story broke. So
Yeah. All right. So Ezra Bridger will be in the Ahsoka series, and he will be played by Eman Esfandi. I think the way it sounded like this was this guy's like first major role. but you've not watched Rebels, correct? Or have you?
I've watched 2 seasons of Rebels.
Oh, okay. So are you excited to see Ezra kind of show back up?
Absolutely. And I'm like, okay, I really need to sit down and finish Rebels because
Yeah.
I love what I've seen.
It's it,
Um,
it's one of those shows, a lot like Clone Wars and even the original Avatar, where it's like when it starts off, I'm like, boy, this is a little kiddie. Like Avatar was perfect because I was the right age, and then like you kind of grow with them. And but like I remember with Clone Wars, I was like kind of aged out of it whenever it was on. But I guess that gets amazing. And same with Rebels, where I'm like, I'm a little too old for this. I'm not that interested. But then I guess it gets amazing.
yeah, you're really not too old. It's very, very good.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
like I said, like the first season when it was on at like terrible times on Disney, because it was like, oh, Toon Disney was like, oh, we're doing a marathon where you can watch the only 5 episodes we have over and over again. Like, man, Toon Disney was terrible about that. Like, they did the same crap with Gravity Falls, where it's like, boy, we only have 8 episodes of this, but we're gonna air it a lot. Like, well, when's the next season? Boy, we don't know.
yeah, no, I feel you. Hopefully, I don't even remember. Is that this week or this year? Do you know? Or is Ahsoka like
I
early
think it's
next year?
probably next year. I don't know for sure though, because
Okay.
I don't think they try to do like too many Star Wars TV shows at a time. It's like maybe one or two a year.
Right.
So
Well, that is
might
exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing him live action.
yeah.
Okay. So, uh in this week's issue of Flashpoint Beyond, the Joker got an official name.
I love how it's like anything Jeff Johns related with the Batman, like Joker and stuff. He's like, you know what? There's three of them, and you know what else? Also, I'm naming them, and everyone's like, no, please don't. And he's like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say the name right now. So if you don't want to hear it, hit that little skip button. They named him Jack White, which like whatever they named him, we're not okay with it, right? Because
Hmm.
he shouldn't have been given a name. I hate when they do this stuff. Same thing with Wolverine, man. You take away the mystery, and he's not as cool anymore, at least in my opinion.
Wolverine's like, I've not read Origins 1. I read parts of Origins 2. I think I might have read all of that. But it's like at least that seemed like it was more of like a fleshed out, well thought out idea where it's like, oh yeah, this is what it is, blah blah blah. It seems like 90% of the time with the Joker stuff, it's like it's Alan Moore's well thought out plan where it's also him being very vague about it, him being like, this might not be real, because Joker's crazy. Or it's Jeff Johns' idea going, oh, yeah, his name's Jack White. I said this great idea.
Uh, and really, I just place all the blame on Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I hate that he is in a position of power where nobody can check him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an editor anymore. He just gets to do whatever the hell he wants, and it's been bad for years.
No, I mean, and it's one thing too is like you can say, like, oh, he knows what he's doing with the Green Lantern characters. And it's like, if you think so, fair enough. I know I'm in the minority on that one. But he cannot write Batman to save his life. Like his Batman is just terrible. And it has been forever. Like even when he was writing Green Lantern, his Batman was very bad. And it's just consistently just been a poorly written Batman. So
Real quick, because I was talking to Drew about this at the shop a couple of weeks ago. He also agrees that Jeff doesn't write Batman well, but he said something that I thought was interesting, and that is that in Green Lantern, we he Jeff is writing Batman from the perspective of Hal Jordan. And I was like, Okay. Well then, that earns a little bit of leeway. Now, I haven't read that. Drew speaks highly of his Green Lantern stuff. I haven't read it, but if Batman is like out of character or whatever, to an extent, you can forgive a little bit because it's someone's perception of Batman and not Batman's like internal thoughts.
So my main problem with that though is like the interactions, you can't just be like, because it's not like it's a book. It's not, like you're seeing the actual interactions that Batman is having with Hal Jordan. It's not just like, oh no, this is Hal remembering this stuff. It's like, no, no, no. Batman's acting this way towards Hal, and it just doesn't work. And then like, all this other stuff. It's not like Hal's like telling the story like, and then I sucked Batman and he didn't even see it coming. It's not like that.
Yeah.
So like it
He's
doesn't work.
not Guy.
Yeah. And so it's like it just doesn't work as well that way. And then it's also one thing I will say that's really neat about that though, and it's like Jeff Johns might have told the artist to do this, but Batman's drawn all shadows. Like you don't get to see because it's like it's clear he's like a lot of the times the antagonist when he's there against Green Lantern, but it's still like it's clear Jeff Johns' favorite character is Hal Jordan. He does not care much for Batman, and he doesn't know what he's doing when he's writing Batman. Like it's just so clear that that's how it is. That it's the same thing like with Barry. Like when he writes Barry, it's like he likes Barry, but he shouldn't be writing him all the time because it's just like not enjoyable to read.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. Um, but anyway, coming back to the point, very frustrating that they gave Joker a name. And really, I mean, does it matter? I guess not, because somebody, the next person that writes Joker could just write in, I was lying to them or something like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But
Or
it's
even
just
have
like,
someone just call, hey, Jack. And he's like, who's Jack? My name's Cletus, whatever.
right. Yeah, just let these mystery characters remain mystery because that just makes it more fun.
Yeah. And have a better thought out plan if you're going to be doing this than what Jeff Johns does. Cause he like, even the three Jokers, he was just trying to like piggyback off of Alan Moore. And then all he did was ruin Alan Moore's story.
Yeah,
It's just like, wow, did you just not understand it? Because it's not that hard to get.
that's kind of a theme with DC is taking something Alan Moore's done and making it worse.
Yeah. And the worst part is, I'm not even an Alan Moore fanboy, and I'm still like, I'm hurt for him.
Yeah. Also, I don't know who this is. Apparently, there's a singer named Jack White who's
Yeah,
rather
the White
popular.
Stripes and the Raconteurs. Raconteurs? I don't know how you say it.
Oh, really? See,
Yeah,
I know the Raconteurs, but I know like three songs. I didn't know that
I
that was
know
him.
too. And then he's also like his own, like he also is his own thing too.
Okay.
But if you're like, I don't know the name, I wouldn't be like, oh, Jack White,
Right. Well,
who
I
has his own
obviously
albums.
obviously I've heard of White Stripes as well, but
Yeah.
yeah, I guess he did like some post or whatever about this too. That had some sort of ties to he had like Mikhail Hanin uh like draw him sort of like the Joker. So it'd be hilarious if Jeff Johns just thought he was being super clever when really he just knew that this happened and was like, I'm gonna make it Jack White. He's like a
Yeah.
huge White Stripes fan or something.
Okay, so I got some fun news and something interesting. So I don't know who this dude is, but Ludi Lin is rumored to be in talks to play Amadeus Cho. And like there was a picture of him in that post that I saw that had the rumor on there, and I think he's too old. Like I think also if you're gonna do Amadeus, because they're wanting to do it as the Hulk, I think if you're gonna do Amadeus, you need to do like a slow build, just because if you're trying to introduce like these younger heroes, you need to have Amadeus be just Amadeus first, have him kind of be introduced as what he is, as a super smart kid, does all this nonsense that he can do, have him be a big fan of the Hulk, have him stick up for the Hulk because the Hulk will do stupid stuff, and then have him get the powers. so that when he does get the powers, it means something, not just right off the bat. Ah, I got powers. Ha ha ha. Who am I? Oh, you'll find out. That type of stuff.
Yeah. I had to look him up whenever you put that in because I wasn't familiar. But so he did Power Rangers and he was Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat reboot.
Oh, okay. I've seen both of those. The Yeah, I mean, he was like the Liu Kang in that is actually pretty awesome. And honestly, if that since that's that dude, he did a men's health thing on YouTube. He is like just super charming and charismatic. Like if you watch that, you're like, I like this guy. Still too old to be Amadeus. Find him a different role. But
Yes, I just looked it up. He's 34, which I agree is a bit old, but he doesn't look 34 at
no,
least.
he looks like he'd be 24, but still, like I think Amadeus should be like 14 to start, because it's gonna take like 10 years to get enough movies out before he actually, becomes Hulk. And bless you, Jake.
Thanks. Just glad I hit the mute button in
Yeah.
time. Okay, my last bit of news, and this is mostly just me being a shop owner that complains about stuff because deep down that's just who I am as a person. So, Action Comics 1050 will be coming out relatively soon, and it's going to have over 25 variants.
They know the Marvel way.
I know it's bad enough like when Action 1000 came out or like any of these big anniversary anthologies, it's like 10. And even then I'm like, ugh, I'll get like two of each or whatever.
Yeah.
25 is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know if that means orderable variants or if that's like total between store and artist exclusives. I don't know. Um, but I would think that that would mean orderable variants because pretty much anybody can have an exclusive. They just have to pay to have so many copies ordered
Yeah.
or whatever. Um, but dude, it's just a pain. It's such a pain.
Mm-hmm. So, are they going to do the Two Worlds podcast variant for this one too, or was that just a Spider-Man thing?
I hope they do because I was thinking about it. I was like, man, how cool would it be to have a Two Worlds podcast one, like the Jerry World's Finest.
Yeah, this would be like the one those ones when it was first announced that John Kent was bi and his boyfriend was pink hair, and they had the ones where they're like about to make out. That would be ours.
But we're poorly cosplaying
Yeah,
Booster and Beetle.
yeah, exactly.
Dude,
That's
everybody listening to this would buy that cover. I know
yeah,
they would.
that's the 1 in 1050 variant. Okay, so this is my last bit of news, but Tim Blake Nelson, he's going to return as the leader in Captain America New World Order, which is pretty exciting. I like him a lot. I mean, he still wouldn't have been my first choice to be the leader, but it's neat that they're actually like acknowledging the Incredible Hulk movie since it's been for forever since they've done anything with that movie. And it started with She-Hulk bringing back Abomination, and now this. So it's pretty cool.
um so was that the Edward Norton one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Because I've seen that movie. It's been a very, very long time.
Yeah. This would have he played the guy that like oh, I mean, I knew him also from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, which I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Okay.
like if you remember at the end, like he busts his head on the ground and like his kind of like, noggin's getting some juice in it and stuff. So it's like it's leading to that. Like he's not my like I said, he's not my first choice to be leader, but still I like him as an actor. And I'm glad that he's finally getting to do this.
Right. Right on.
Then we also got some Thunderbolts news. I didn't put this in the notes, but did you see the lineup that's going to be for Thunderbolts? They released that, and we're also They did a mini thing for your Werewolf by Night.
No, do share.
Okay, so like the Werewolf by Night thing is like a mini trailer, almost like a teaser trailer type thing. So you'll just have to watch that. I didn't really watch it but Man Thing's supposed to be in it, is from what I hear. And then I'll pull up the roster. So people are kind of like peeved at this roster for the Thunderbolts because there's no real like supers on it, but there's Taskmaster. It's gonna be the same Taskmaster from Black Widow. Yelena,
People are gonna hate that.
yeah, I mean, me too. Uh, the new Black Widow by Florence Pugh. Um, what?
She's pretty.
Oh, okay. Derek Harbour's Russian dude, the Ghost from Ant-Man 2, uh, U.S. Agent, Bucky, and I don't recognize black-haired girl. So, yeah.
Black-haired girl.
Yeah, in the picture there's a girl with black hair.
Hold on.
But I think it might be like the person that's getting the Thunderbolts together, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, people I think they need to have some other like I don't know. I think it'd be fun if Red Hulk was there, even though I know that actor has passed away. But they need something a little bit more with a little bit more oomph, if you ask me.
Right. I'm trying to find that.
Here, I'll just send it to you really quick so you can see it. Send it in on Instagram. Oh, I'll send you the Werewolf by Night guy. And
Oh, dude,
this is just a
that's
poster.
Julia Louis Dreyfus.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah. She like a lot of the post-credit scenes for the last few things have been her like talking to Black Widow and US agent and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, totally makes sense.
All right. And I just saw this too when I was over on this site, so I forgot to say this, but Titan season 4 will officially release this November on HBO Max, and it's going to feature Titus Welliver as Lex Luthor.
Okay.
So I don't know anything about him. Oh, and then I also one last thing. I meant to put this in the notes, but I didn't. Daredevil Charlie Cox was talking about the new Daredevil Born Again, and he's like, it's not gonna be a season 4 of the Netflix. It's gonna be a whole new thing. So like I think it's gonna be kind of like, oh yeah, we're gonna play fast and loose with the continuity of this, which I think we all kind of knew was gonna happen. And they're not gonna keep as dark of a tone. But I have a feeling a lot of that stuff's still gonna stay happening. I think they were just saying like you don't have to watch the original stuff to enjoy this, but it'll probably help. That's my guess. But what do I know?
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's similar enough because that's what people liked.
Yeah. But
All
that
right.
is all of my news.
Well, then we're going to take our ad break and we'll be back to talk some comics.
Yeah.
So we will be right back. All right, man, give us the rundown of the con.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, like I was saying, it's about the size of like a high school gymnasium was the room that had everything in it outside the panels. So like I don't know how anyone was wanting to stay more than a day there.
So there was like weekend tickets.
Yeah. And I don't get it. Like I really don't. And I'm not trying to say that to be like mean to this con, but it's like the times I've been to G Fest. I like G Fest. There's a lot more to do at G Fest. It didn't like so like I saw the thing on Twitter that that was an artist at the floor because there was no artist alley was like I'm just so glad we have something that's different than G Fest now. And it's like you're not like it's not the same at all because like at G Fest, for instance, the exhibit room, like the room with all the where you spend all your money, it's huge. It's like bigger than this one, this room that had everything in it. Then you have another room that has the autographing stuff. Then you have another room that's the artist alley. And then you have another room where they're just showing fan movies. people make, and other ones are just them playing with their toys. But and it's like all of that stuff there, and it's like that's 3-day event, and even that I was like, I'm good after like a day and a half. But with this is just like, yeah, no, there is no comparison. Like like this would probably be like a third of the size of G Fest. And I mean, it doesn't compare, and it boggles my mind. Like people just hate the guy that they're like, no, this is just as good, I swear.
So how was the turnout in comparison to G Fest?
I mean, I would say it was less than G Fest because it wasn't near as cramped. Like when the times I went to the Artist Alley and G Fest, I wanted to die because it's just like so cramped. Like you have to just walk in like a single file line, and it was terrible. And then like the stuff on the main floor, there's people, and it's like you can walk around pretty comfortably. It's not going to be a big deal. But it's also like G Fest is ran for the most part pretty okay. This was like ran terribly. Like I sent them a message. I'm like, hey, because like they say cash only for autographs. So I'm like, how much are autographs going to be? So I know how much cash to bring. They read my message, never told me.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, it's stuff like that that just make like it's just not well ran. And it's because like Days of the Dead does so many different things. So like it makes sense why like, oh yeah, it's just not a well ran thing because they're doing like it's umbrellaed in by Days of the Dead, and Days of the Dead does like 30 different cons a year. Like where it's probably like all this size, and they're just like, whatever, we don't care. Just churn this shit out and let's keep going.
Yeah, well, that is too bad. I wish
Yeah.
that it had been a better experience for you, because I'm sure that you were just excited to experience another Godzilla con.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too though where I'm still happy I did because meeting the guys, it was super cool. I have a funny story just to share, like two I'll share. For the third one, I'll just say this too. Lots of smelly nerds there.
Gee, who could have imagined?
Like it was impressive though, because like, I'd just be walking and like there would be a guy that just walks past. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, wow, that's impressive, man.
Yeah.
But no, like there was so first funny story. I was in the bathroom. I was washing my hands after I used the toilet. And this dude, it might have just been the most like just supremely awkward, or he might have been like kind of slow. I'm not sure. But he sees my shirt and he's like, nice shirt, as we're in the bathroom. And I don't want to talk to you if I'm in the bathroom, period. I just don't. Not to be rude. And I'm like, thanks. And he's wearing a Godzilla shirt too. And he's like, I'm just like, and then like it's just a pause as I'm still like I'm drying my hands now. And he's like, I have a Godzilla shirt on too. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool, man. And I'm just like, well, have a good con. We're in the bathroom. I don't want to talk to you.
Dude. Yeah. I mean, if I if I say something to somebody and they like don't give me anything back, I'm just like, all right,
Yeah.
like you don't keep pushing, especially not in the
Yeah.
bathroom.
If he had said that to me outside, I would have gladly talked to him. But I don't want to talk to you in the bathroom at all. I just want to get my stuff done and leave.
I picture you both at the urinal doing your thing, and he just reaches over for a handshake, like, "Hey, nice shirt, man. I'm Bob."
I mean, we both know if he would have like tried to talk to me while I was on the urinal, I would have just like zipped up and went to a stall.
Yeah.
But then the other funny story. So when I got my photo op done, the like there was a dude in front of me. He like probably would have been like 2 inches to 3 inches taller than me. And he was probably like, and he was a little bit heavier than me too. Just all around bigger. And the guys that were the suit actors are not big guys. Like I'm assuming just when I was around them, the dude that was the GMK Godzilla, he's probably like 5'9", 5'10", and then one 2000s Godzilla was probably like 5'4", 5'3". So like when this big dude comes up, they're like, oh wow, like they're like freaking out that how big he is. So then like let's like then they're Japanese together, like we'll do our Godzilla pose like up at him, and so then like they do that and they laugh, and then I show up, and then like the GMK is like, another one.
Another one.
Yeah, like
Another
he.
one of these freaks.
So I thought that was really funny though.
I like the photos, man. Like I realize that these guys probably don't have too much going on, so like, they kind of give their all to these shows. But I like that everyone's doing their poses and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, and it's like I don't know. I think it has to be really cool for them because like it's like, oh yeah, these people that don't speak my language at all absolutely love me though, and like we cannot have a conversation at all, so it's like really nice that way.
Yeah.
And it's just like they like wrote on my DVD cases and hand it back to me. I'm like, this is awesome, thank you.
So I mean, what is the interaction like then? I mean, do you say thank you or do
I
like anything like do they do something and you do something in return?
Yeah, so like the Millennium Godzilla, the Godzilla 2000 Godzilla suit actor, that's how I think his name's Ken. He clearly didn't speak any English. Like when I got up there, he's like, he pointed at the thing like, where do I want it? I'm like, just I'm pointed back, and then he's like, held up the Sharpies, and he's like, and I'm like, the blue one. I pointed at that one. He's like, okay. And then he did that, and then we posed together, and then we shook hands, and we both bowed to each other, and then that was it. And I'm like, it very basic, and like maybe he speaks perfect English. He's just like, I do not want to talk to these people.
You leave and he's like, how many fucking more of these do
Yeah.
we have?
And then like the GMK guy, just way higher energy, and it was just fair. And like he actually had a handler with him, so it was like I handed him the money, and then they're like, oh yeah, take that out of the sleeve, like where would you want it? And I told him, and then he tells him, and then they then he's like, oh, let's get the picture. He's like, he's like super high energy, so it's like a lot different because the 2000 Millennium one was like more subdued.
Yeah.
And then Ultraman, it was just like no words need to be said, but he was like still like, oh yeah, you gotta, like both times I got my pictures with him. He's like, you gotta get the pose right, and he like got me all posed up, and he had handlers too that were also like, yeah, here's where do you want him to autograph it at and do all that stuff, and then yeah, and then it's like, oh, and then he's giving you gifts, and he like gave me his cards that are all in Japanese. I don't know what they say.
Well, still sounds very cool.
Yeah, no, like I said, the guests were the best part. It's like I could the artists, the five artists that were there, I had no interest in seeing. It's like, oh boy, Matt Frank again. Cool.
You walk by his table, you're like, get a job, Matt Frank. Boo.
It's just like he's one of those guys where it's like, I wish I never followed him on Twitter. He's the worst.
Which is such a shame.
But yeah, so it's like when it's like then Bob Eagleton was there, and like had I had my children Godzilla books from like, because first off, Bob Eagleton, it's like if you've never looked up his art, it's like it'd be like the Alex Ross covers of Godzilla artwork. It's so dang good. And then like he somehow got commissioned to do a children's book called Godzilla Likes to Roar and Who's Afraid of Godzilla. And they're like these two like children's book that I had as a kid. I don't know where they're at anymore. But Eagleton did all of the art, and it's just like, why did you get Eagleton to do this?
Yeah, I just Googled it. It's incredible.
Yeah. Like
I
I'm
mean,
not
it's like 80s D&D cover art,
and I mean honestly, he looks like he would be an artist for an 80s D&D cover. Like the long hair, the beard, yeah. And he is amazing. but like I didn't have those books to get autographed, and I'm like, I don't even want to ask him how much commissions are, because that would scare the hell out of me. And that's one thing that annoys me too. There's so many of those different places that were like had figures, no price tag on them. It's like,
Yeah. You
cool,
gotta ask for it.
you have a Trend Master Mecha King Ghidorah. I wonder how much that is. I don't want to talk to you though.
Right.
Like, I'm not in the mood to do this right now, guys. So not gonna get this.
I don't get it anyway. Like everybody at the con, their stuff's overpriced.
Yeah.
Why does it matter if you have to tell them or if you just list it?
Yeah.
Then it's just like all the BS is cut. They're either gonna buy it or they're not.
Yeah, and there was this one, and I bought stuff from them at G Fest because it's the same people. But there was this one spot that has this like a bunch of the small vinyl guys, and there were some cool looking ones, but no prices. I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. I am not in the mood to be like, hey, over here, because like they'd had other people. Like, I need to know the price of this Gamera. What's the price of Gamera? You know, I didn't want to do that. Like, it's just like, you're missing out on money by not, just putting a little sticker on the guy.
Yeah, I agree.
But man, had Mike been there was, I think, 3 of those of that Godzilla that he likes, that he wants one, that he had as a kid. There was like 3 of them. One was like 3 something, and then there was another one that was like, I think, 280, and then another one that was like 225.
Pretty pricey little figure, huh?
I mean, this one's like,
Well,
yay
I
big.
say little figure,
Yeah,
but
it's a bigger boy. Speaking of pricey figures, I almost got or not, I didn't almost get, because as soon as they said the price, I'm like, you can put that back. But they had a Matango, which I don't think you've ever seen Matango, but it's a Ishiro Honda movie where it's like these people like crash on an island and they don't have any food, and they start eating these mushrooms, and the mushrooms just kind of take over their bodies and they turn into mushroom people. And it's a wild movie. I love it. And they had a Matango there, $160. Because I was one of the ones I was like, I want to know the price of that. How much is the Matango? And they're like, $160. Like, huh, you can put that back. They're like, do you want to look at it? I'm like, no, I'm good. That's too much for me.
No thanks.
I was like, I might get you at C2E2, because I've seen, those guys are at C2E2 every year too. And I'm like, I might get that at C2E2. They're like, the price might go up. I'm like, well, then I won't get it.
Oh, that's great. They need to do a Matango crossover with some of the Godzilla kaiju.
So like, that's one of the things with Rulers of the Earth, that one Godzilla thing, where like, I'm pretty sure there was some Matango stuff in there, but like the Matango guys are like, they're human size. They're not, they don't ever get that big, so it'd be hard to do.
Well, I just meant like do the mushroom infection on them.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else you wanted to add, man? Or
No, I mean, I still think if there's any interests out there, we should try to do a live, not live, but like a vlog of us at like C2E2 or at any type of con where we're like toy hunting or comic hunting. I think that'd be cool. That's also one thing. I got Jake a Sonic comic while I was there. That was one of my big purchases. So that
I'm
was,
very excited because those are getting just tougher and tougher to find.
yeah, I was like, that dude had a Trendmaster Godzilla. If the box hadn't been like complete, like it looked like I played with it as a kid. That's how bad the box looked. But he had a Trendmaster Godzilla and he won $50 for it. But it was like, it walks and roars. He's like, it doesn't roar anymore. And the box is just like shredded. I'm like, oh, it's $50. Not at $50. I can't do that.
Right. All right, folks. Welcome back. Casey talked about his Godzilla Con that he went to over the weekend, and he had some pretty fun stories from that. So if you would like to hear him talk about that, head on over to the YouTube channel. That's Two Worlds Podcast on YouTube, and check it out.
Yeah, and if you would like us to like show up at a bathroom that you're in and then like awkwardly tell you everything that happened to me at the con, just Venmo us both $50 a piece, or buy me a Mantango figure, and then we'll go from there.
Or if you send us the $100 and Casey only has to spend an additional $50, he might buy himself a Matango figure.
Maybe, but I'd much prefer if you bought it for me.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, Casey did not get his comics in time this week. So we'll just do like a rapid fire of Casey's stuff from last week and then my stuff from this week. And yeah, go from there. So, Casey, what books did you read?
Okay, so I read Power Rangers Unlimited, The Death Ranger, #1, Iron Fist, #5, The Flash, Love on the Run. There's a annual, and then Superman, Warworld Apocalypse, or as some like to call it, War Wolf.
Warworld, yes.
What about you, buddy?
I've got Sword of Azrael 2, Twig #5, New Champion of Shazam #2, Dark Knights of Steel, Tales from the Three Kingdoms, Batman 127, Moon Knight 15, and She-Hulk 6.
Right on. I think I need to tell you to get me that new Champion Shazam too. I think I forgot that one too, like a dummy. But oh, well, first one was enjoyable.
Yeah, but the second one was
Okay.
too.
Oh, spoiler alert. Okay, so I'll start with Power Rangers Unlimited, The Death Ranger, written by Paul Eller and illustrated by Kath Lobo and Anna Kekovsky Chandra. And so yeah, this is like a lady talking to these two kids about this this Power Ranger that can, basically figures out how to bring people back from the dead. And then it's like, oh yeah, turns out one of those kids is they're both grown up, and one of them is, spoiler alert, dead. And she is just remembering the story of the Death Ranger that brought people back to life and went crazy. And so it's clear she's going to bring the Death Ranger back to bring her friend back to life, or brother, very unclear, back to life. I really wasn't interested. Like, I was like hoping to be into this. Wasn't. It's making me sadder and sadder that I'm like, because like, peak Power Rangers comics are really good. These other ones are just kind of like a slog to get through.
Which really sucks because something titled The Death Ranger should
that's
be cool.
that's exactly where my brain was. I'm like, this will be perfect because it's the other series. It's Dragon. This one is gonna be rad. It's gonna be 90s stupid, like, guitars and skateboards, rad. Nah, it's a slog. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5, like, or 4 out of 10, not out of
I
5.
was like, okay, well, that's high.
Yeah, it's a slog, and I love the slog the whole time.
So oh gosh, what were the bullies' names? Are they in it?
No, this is all like outer space Power Ranger stuff. Like, these are none of the people that we've ever known.
Gotcha. Okay. Next up is Twig #5. That's written by Scotty Young and art by Kyle Strom. And this was the final issue of this arc. And I
Oh,
say this arc because it says Twig will return at the end. So that's exciting stuff. Because I thought this was just going to be like a one and done miniseries. But yeah, this was really, really good. You'll laugh, you'll cry. It's just good stuff. And I'd like to also point out the colorist, who is Jean-Francois Ballou, because the colors are just incredible as well. But I think this wrapped up nicely. The character and creature design in this is incredible. And I just really like the friendship of, Twig, Splat, and the little rhino guy. It's just fun. It's fun stuff.
yeah.
So I liked it a lot. I'm gonna give it a 10. And I think this was like a sleeper hit. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
didn't think that this was going to be as good as it was.
yeah, same. I mean, for what I've read, it's been fantastic. And I'm not gonna lie, I think my favorite character is the little rhino guy. From what
Same.
it's like, he just stole your heart from that one issue I've read.
Yep.
Okay, so next for me is Iron Fist #5 by Alyssa Wong and Michael Eag. And you read this too, right? Did you get to this or?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you can jump in at any time while I'm talking about it. But no, it's like you get Iron Fist, the new Iron Fist doing a big old fight. You get some Danny Rand in this one, and it's kind of got the bait and switch with the cover with Loki on the front, and then it's like, oh yeah, he just shows up at the end. But no, I like this. It's still like, we get Fat Cobra and Bride of Nine Spiders in this, and a bunch of fun characters throughout. And some good, like I said, good fight scenes. It's pretty solid. What'd you think of it, man?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, so I don't remember certain scenes. I just remember liking it a lot. And, I love Loki, so I'm looking forward to what happens there.
Yeah, and it's he kind of gets like control of the sword, and he's getting more control over the his dragon powers and stuff, and it's cool. It's like he's finally like listening to Danny, which it's like it's still his reason for not listening to Danny at the beginning made zero sense to me anyway. But yeah, I like it. I still don't love it as much as I love like the Silk by Alyssa Wong. Like, she killed that. This is like, it's solid. It doesn't
Hmm.
doesn't blow me away at all, but I still
I
really
mean,
like it.
I like it way more than that other Iron Fist book that we got. So,
I mean, fair enough. For me, this will probably be a 7.5 out of 10 though.
okay. So next for me is New Champion of Shazam #2. It's written by Josie Campbell and art by Evan Doc Shaner. And this is cool. She's dealing with her siblings and stuff, and everyone's kind of upset that just what's going on with like Billy and the Shazam power situation and all that. And Casey's gonna like this because there's like a big like alligator monster in this issue that looks really cool. So um the bunny is pretty funny still. So like, we got a little funny bunny, and I like this book. I hope that it just being 4 issues that it wraps up nicely. But so far, it's charming. The art is out of this world, and I like it. So,
Right on.
I'm gonna give it like a 9 out of 10.
Nice. Now the Flash Annual, and this is by Jeremy Adams with art by Serge Aguana. Aguana, I don't know, but it's interesting. So basically, Wally, he gets Linda's book, and he decides like she wants him to read it, and so he's reading her book, and it's like this romance novel that's like very loosely based off of him and her and the Justice League and stuff fighting a villain, but it's like they're all different enough, and it's kind of lame at times, but it's also kind of supposed to be. Like, there's a part where Wally's like, my wife is a big nerd, like, so like it's just like, this is just a filler issue, and it's like, it's a good thing it's in the annual. Like, all it really kind of does is like, it just establishes more that, oh yeah, she's got super speed now, her and Wally are dealing with it, and then there's a big reveal at the end. Did you read this? I'm gonna spoil it since it's already been out for a little bit. Okay, so she's like, there's a type of food that she really wants, and he's like, you remember when you were pregnant with the twins and you were wanting this food, and then they're like, are you? And she's like, am I? And that's how it ends. So like, there's a chance that we might get more speedster babies.
Just what we needed, more speedsters.
Yeah, and if Jeff Johns wrote it, she'd have a miscarriage again. But
Oh boy.
because yeah, like that's what happened. And then, so like, that's the funny thing is like, when I was at Walden, when I'd get my Walden book comics, I had the issue where the miscarriage happened, and then like all this other stuff happened, and then there was like a part where like, this would have been like years, still Jeff Johns run, but like, someone was gonna go try to, I think, kill Linda, or at like the time that like whenever they actually had the miscarriage happen, like, oh, I'm gonna kill her this time, ha ha ha, that type of thing. And so then like, oh, we gotta stop them, and they they're running to the past too, and it's like Wally and Barry teaming up, so it's just like that was mind-blowingly cool because Barry wasn't back yet at this point. And so then like the next issue just sold out at Walden, so I never got to know what happened. And then like it's just like, oh, I have kids now.
Man, so to this day you haven't read that?
I haven't, no. I mean, I have the Wally omnibuses, so it's probably in there somewhere. I just haven't got to it yet.
Gonna say that is a years long cliffhanger.
Right? I mean, I know what happens. Like, she has her kids.
Right. Okay.
Oh, really
So
quick.
yeah,
That's another 7 out of 10 because it's like I said, it's perfectly filler.
right. So I've got Dark Knights of Steel, Tales from the Three Kingdoms. I was worried because I have been complaining about anthology books of late, but this one was pretty solid. I think the first two are written by Tom Taylor, and then one's written or drawn by Casper Wingard, and that one's okay. It's just sort of it deals with like the Arkham Orphans, which is essentially Batman's rogues gallery, and then like how Bruce gets the Robins to work for him. So that was pretty cool. And then, oh no, the second one's written by Jay Kristoff with art by Sean Izaksky. Izaksky. And that one's pretty neat. It's funny because it's about Harley taking Clark like down into the to the city for like their Halloween festival. So he's like dressed up differently and she's like, "Here, put on these glasses." And that's like his disguise. She's like, "No one's ever going to know that it's you." But she's still dressed as Harley. So it's like, I mean, if anyone's got a brain, they can kind of put two and two
Yeah.
together there. And then Bruce comes with them, and of course he just puts on like a bat cowl. It's like, dude, come on, like you guys aren't really fooling anybody. Um, but it was solid. That was the one about Bruce getting the Robins. The third one was my favorite of the three, but man, I gotta make fun of Bruce. This one was written by C.S. Pacat with art by Michelle Bandini. So we get this really cool Bane. It's like if Bane and Guts from Berserk.
Oh, no, I've seen that online a few times. Yeah.
It's incredible. But essentially he was like the Waynes were in control of the kingdom and then they died and then the L's become the king and queen. So he's like a Wayne loyalist and approaches Bruce and is like, "Hey, I can train you to take care of anyone with powers. Like you'll be unstoppable." And so there's a big montage of Bane training Bruce, and Bane tells him about the magic, the venom that keeps him alive and stuff like that. And he's like, "Okay, your training's complete. We're gonna go kill the L's and put you back in power the way it should be." And Bruce is like, "Yeah, okay, sounds good." So they get there, and Bane pulls out like this really cool mace and is ready to go. And of course, Bruce is a little twat and cuts like the tubes where the venom is and renders Bane useless. And he's like, "Mr. and Mrs. L, Bane was gonna unseat you, and I caught him and stopped him." And they take him off to the dungeon. And it's just like, okay, I get that kind of serves a story, but how freaking cool would it have been if this badass knight Bane raises Bruce and they unseat the king and queen? Like, that's cool stuff, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But the way Bruce handled it he's just such a little shit. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, way to rat him out, you nerd. But the art was amazing, and overall, I really like that this book. Because it's been a while since Dark Knights of Steel has come out.
It's been a while
It's been a
since
while.
Dark Knights of Steel has been out.
Doesn't really work there.
It didn't.
So it was just cool to be back in that world. So I will give it an 8, but I will give Bruce Wayne a 3.
Okay, so my last book, and this is another one that I'm sure you'll be able to jump in on, and that's Superman Warwolf Apocalypse by Philip Kennedy Johnson, with art by Brandon Peterson, Will Conrad, Max Raynor, and Miguel Mendoca. And so yeah, this is the final issue of all the Action Comic goodie. We get Superman fighting Mongol, and then like them just kind of like figuring out their way of beating them, and they beat them. And I have like a few gripes here and there, but all in all, I really liked it. I just didn't like I don't like the fact that Mongol died. Like I think like this whole thing is like, oh yeah, I'm not going to their level, I'm not doing this, and then like he beats them, and then the other guy just like, he's dead, I got him. It's like they should have just imprisoned him or something. I get that the other dude's like kind of a douche, and that's the reasoning behind it. But no, I just think they should have kept him alive. I think that would have done more for like it would have worked better for the story. But that's like my main gripe with this. What do you think though when you read it?
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Because like, yeah, a new Mongol can just take the title and be Mongol, but it's like clearly Superman this whole time has been trying to send a message.
Yeah.
But it was still very good. Overall, the Warwolf stuff, amazing.
Yeah. No, it's been great. I'd probably give the whole thing probably a 9 out of 10. It's been
It's
very
been
good. It's been
any chance we get.
it's been very good this whole time. It's been like enough minor gripes that it would take it down a point.
Yeah. What about that one issue though?
Uh, I'd probably say 8.5. There's too many jumping around of the artists too. Like, just think of how much better this series would have been if it would have been all one consecutive artist.
Riccardo Federici?
Yeah,
I
all
know.
throughout. It would have been a lot better collected. We could just been like, let's just let him, do it bi-monthly or whatever instead. And
Yeah.
I think it would have worked out a lot better.
Agreed. Okay. Batman 127. It's written by Chip Zdarsky and art by Jorge Jimenez. I don't want to say anything too much because Casey wants to read this. It was okay. I'm waiting for Chip to ramp it up. The failsafe stuff is just whatever. I will say this. There's references made to Tower of Babel, and there's some really good like Superman moments. Those are the strong parts of this. Really, really like that. The stuff where like the whole family is talking about how they just can't possibly stop failsafe is like, come on, you guys have fought harder than this.
Yeah.
So that's what bugs me. I'm gonna go like 7.5. Art's amazing as always, but if it weren't for the Superman bits, I'd be pretty low on this one.
Which Superman is it? Is it John or Clark?
It's Clark.
Okay. Well, we're gonna have to come up with a way of like Superman Junior or Superman, or like we'll do a Superman Classic or Superman Light.
I know, dude. I don't like. I get they wanted John to take over as Superman. I wish they'd have called him Superboy though. And I know there's a few of them too,
Yeah.
but like at least it would make this less confusing.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, they just need to come up with the name game for it, which is like we're complaining about it, but like how many Spider-Man, there's how many, Captain Marvels. There's how many all the other characters. So it's like
I
I guess
know.
it's not that big of a deal.
It's not, but I mean, we can say the same for all of them, where it's like give
Yeah.
them different names too. Like, Spider Gwen is unique, but she goes by Ghost Spider now, which is a cool name. Anybody
It
should think that the title Ghost Spider is cool.
but it's like I think that's harder to be like, oh yeah, Ghost Spider. I know who this is. She was where Spider Gwen. It's like, no, I actually do know who Spider Gwen is.
Yeah,
But 100%, you're not buying like you don't buy that book based on the name. You buy it because the costume is one of the coolest costumes.
yeah, it is. Okay, I've got two more. Next is
All right.
Moon Knight. It's written by Jed McKay with art by Alessandro Capuccio. It's really good. He's just talking with his therapist about how his new work-life balance with his other two personalities is going. And then we get a little bit of background on these two new bad guys that he's eventually going to fight. Um, but man, I just don't care about these two bad guys. I mean, dude, that is Sabretooth,
Huh.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's not Sabretooth, but that's Sabretooth.
Yeah.
So it's like, why did they draw it like that? Um, but anyway, I like it. It's good character moments as always. I just, have little complaints here and there. Still really liked it. Gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I have two more.
Oh, okay.
Next is
So
She-Hulk.
before it wasn't a tumor.
As I was saying, She-Hulk number 6. It's written by Rainbow Rowell with art by Luca Maresca. And this is cool. We get some Patsy Walker, we get some Nightcrawler, and I mean, we get some interesting moments with Jack of Hearts at the end. I'll say that. Good stuff all around. I love this book. I am going to give it a 10.
Nice. That's one that's gonna be a sleeper hit for the comic book of the year, I think, because I
It
think like
will.
it's for the most part been tens and nines for us.
Yes. It is the pick of the week. My
Dang,
final book.
Twig sitting over there crying.
Well, dude, this next one could have been too. This is
Oh,
Sword
okay.
of Azrael number 2. There were some good books this week.
Yeah.
And this one is written by Dan Waters with art by Nicola. Oh gosh, I wrote it down last time and now I don't remember how I said it. Cismezija. It's Polish. I'm sorry. But anyway, it's cool. We get more. We get a little tussle between Azrael and Vengeance is her name, right? Bane's quote unquote
Oh,
daughter.
yep.
We get more of John Paul talking to his creepy true angel self inside of his mind. And then we find out that Vengeance is working with the Templars, Azrael, which the title is The Poor Fellow, even though she's just this badass lady with cool armor and a halberd. And they kidnap that lady that came to his monastery and killed all the monks last issue, and leave John Paul by himself while he's meditating. So it was really cool. I like all aspects of this book. I like that vengeance is a thing outside of the Joker and it like kind of makes sense. And I'm just glad that Azrael's back and it's well done. So this one is also going to get a 10 from me.
Right on. Yeah, I got an Azrael question for you. Have they mentioned other Azrael at all?
Nope.
All right.
I think his name was
Well,
Michael.
yeah, I knew it was Michael something, but I was like, the name that keeps popping in my head when I say Michael, I know it's not Michael Phelps. So I'm like, I know it's not that.
it's Michael Lane,
Oh, okay.
which I loved that series when it was
I
coming out too.
I know
So
you did. So that's why I was like, it'd be neat if they brought that back into the fold. And who knows, they might.
yeah.
But what are you excited for this coming week, man?
So it's hard not to say Batgirls. Um, and I know I'm being kind of basic, but also Immortal Red Sonja is coming out, and that's been one of my faves. And then for the third one, I'm going to say Midnight Suns because Magic's on the team and I am a little slut for Magic.
I
So,
know both the character and
yes.
card tricks.
Yes.
Remember that if you're like, maybe I want 10% off these comics, learn a really good card trick and it might work. So for me, I'm gonna go Batman versus Robin. That should be pretty neat. I'm kind of on the fence. I love Mark Waid. I know he's writing it, but it's like Joshua Williamson was doing a lot of the setup for the Robin related stuff. So I'm a little worried the tone's gonna be different from that to this, That's like I said, I'm on the fence. Like I have enough faith in Mark Waid that's gonna be good. It's just I'm worried about tone, basically. And then of course do a power bomb if Diamond gives it to you. And then
Yes.
Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because obviously.
I think that's the final issue of it too.
Yeah, should be neat. That's one thing I'm gonna mention really quick in the news. It's kind of funny. So Legendary and its deal with Warner Brothers for distribution is about to come to an end, apparently. And it's like Warner Brothers is still like bidding with other ones, but now they got Sony in on the distribution now and Paramount. And Paramount's kind of the one that's leading. And it's like if Paramount gets it, that would be so much better than Warner Brothers having it because, like, oh, guys, guess what? Paramount also has Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like, how cool would that be?
It would be insanely cool.
So, like, it'd be pretty sweet. I'd be pretty hyped for that. But yeah, so now it's Fantastic Four time, man. And 2 weeks ago, you had said to me about a tweet that had Philip Kennedy Johnson and Grant Morrison. You're like, two of the greatest writers for Superman ever. And so my thought was like, if we were like setting up this new DC universe and we could put different comic book creators, because like mine's not gonna be just writers, but different comic book creators into like kind of like think tank groups to help, they're not gonna be the ones making the scripts, but they're gonna be the ones that like kind of like help focus it and help make punch it up and all that stuff to make it like more comic book accurate, make it just better for the general audience. Also, who would you have to be your four creators?
Sure. This one took essentially no thought.
I know.
And I'm sure that a lot of them can be guessed, but I will say Dan Jurgens, clearly one of the most influential on Superman. I'm going to say Mark Waid. He gets the character. He's written Superman a lot. Clearly loves Superman. And I'll say Birthright is probably a top 5 Superman comic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to say Grant Morrison and Philip Kennedy Johnson because I truly believe that they're the two best to have ever written Superman.
Okay, so for mine, I'm not including Grant since Grant is kind of done with mainstream stuff. So I'm gonna just X him out. Dan was on my list also, and Mark was on mine. So those two are staying. I'm also gonna add in Frank Quietly because I think his art is like that's the kind of style that I would want for a Superman movie. Like we've done the dark and gritty, just let's go a little bit lighter. We get the Frank Quietly stuff, and just to be different, I'm also throwing in Ron Mars. Ron Mars is one of those guy like creators where it's like maybe I don't like his story, but 9 times out of 10, the way he writes his characters, I'm more than happy with. I think he usually kills it, and he does Superman really well. So, I was like, I need to at least get two different than Jake, not just one.
Right. And I'm happy with all your choices too.
So next week we'll probably do Wonder Woman or Batman. We'll just keep it up until we get the whole league done.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that is the end of the episode. So, closing plugs, if you would, please go to facebook.com/TwoWorldsPodcast and give the page a like. You can also follow us on Twitter at 2_worlds_PC and on Instagram at 2worldspod. You can email us at 2worldspodcast@gmail.com. And if you would, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's 2Worlds Podcast on YouTube.
Leave us a comment down below about, whatever character that you're like, or whatever writer or creator that you're like, I really want them to take over Superman. Maybe you're like, I want Jeff Johns to really just give us Superman movie stuff because he worked so well at the movie verse last time he was there. He didn't do anything that made people mad. Let's get him back in it.
All right. Well, guys, we'd love to stay in chat, but we have to start strong and end terribly. So we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.